everybody? Alex from StrengthX here to go over the next video in the at-home training series. Today I will be telling you guys how to build up your shoulders at home with minimal equipment. So before we get started, if you have any questions about what you see here, just shoot me an email at strengthx1@gmail.com. I'll be happy to help you out. So before I break down the exercises I use, I want to go over the split. It's a upper lower 4-day split, usually Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. And every upper body day I was hitting shoulders in some fashion. So either I would start with a push-up variation on Monday, or on Thursdays I would start with an overhead press variation. And if I'm doing my compound work with the push-ups or the horizontal pushing, I would do my most of my accessories with shoulder work, and vice versa. So if I was doing a vertical push like overhead press right here, if I was doing that first, my accessories would be chest focused. So I do have a video coming out soon on why upper lower splits and conjugate style training in general, why it's the greatest of all time. Definitely blows the linear periodization out of the water. I got tons of reasons why, so you can argue me on that when it comes out if you're a linear supporter. I'll be glad to debate you. So the first set of videos here shows my overhead press variations. It was between the barbell overhead press, sandbag overhead press, and single arm dumbbell overhead press, since I only had one dumbbell. So well, here's the sandbag overhead press. We'll start with that since it's on the screen. If you want a tutorial video on how to make a cool sandbag like that, just leave a comment. It's pretty easy to make. Basically just buy the big sandbags they sell at any hardware store, usually 70 pounds. And then I buy some contractor bags, some Gorilla Tape, and you can put 2, 3, 4 sandbags together, depending on how heavy you want it to be. Put the contractor bag over it and just tape it like crazy so it doesn't rip. And there you go. You got yourself a nice sandbag. It can be anywhere from 70 pounds, 140 pounds, 210, 280. And beyond if you're really strong. So it was the sandbag press was really tough. My barbell overhead press max was 185, and that 140 pound sandbag was a grinder. I didn't lift anything heavy for probably 2 months at that point, so I did get pretty excited after. And that might have been why that lighter weight was hard, but lifting odd objects in general is pretty tough. It's awkward. With the hand positioning especially, makes lockout real tough. And then with a single arm dumbbell overhead press, it's great for getting more out of less weight, since you only have to load one side. That was a 55 pound dumbbell I was using, versus the 100 and 110 pound barbell I was using in the other sets earlier. It's just less load on the spine to handle, so you could recover and come back faster with just about the same amount of shoulder stimulus. And yeah, that bar it was rated for 100 pounds, but I did put, in the second video, you see there's 110 pounds on there. There was even a point where I tried putting 115 pounds, and that was just a little too much. It ended up putting a slight bend in the bar. So unfortunately, that's what you get when you buy cheap equipment. But I mean, it was all that was available at the time, and I was grateful to have it, so I can't be too mad. And now as far as programming goes for these, you can do just basic hypertrophy days, like 3 to 5 sets of 10 to 15. You can even do lower rep days it depends on what access to weights you have, really. So depends on your unique situation. But since I only had a limited amount of weight, I was doing the high rep, high sets days, and also dynamic days for like 8 to 10 sets of 3 with short rest, just working on getting speed with good technique and compensatory acceleration training. It's a really good concept. You don't have to go towards failure if you're lifting the weight really fast. You'll end up activating all your muscle fibers regardless, since you're putting in so much effort. Alright, so in this next section of clips, you're going to see the face pull segment of the video. Banded face pulls, I honestly think they're superior to the cable version. The way the strength curve is set up, it allows you to get a superior squeeze and contraction of your upper back muscles. So, especially the single arm version, I really like that one. You'll see that one towards the end. It has a greater range of motion and a greater squeeze, because if you pull both shoulder blades back at the same time, they eventually hit each other. But if you're doing it with one arm, the shoulder blade won't bump into the other shoulder blade, and it can actually go back further. You can try this out and see for yourself. It is time consuming though, so it is a double-edged sword. You know, you got to pick either getting out of the gym fast or spending a little more time in there, but getting a superior stimulus. You know, if you're doing this for a living, it makes a long difference over time. And I think it would be worth it, you know, to get that competitive advantage on your opponents and what you do for a profession. So it only makes sense. Now, there is a way to get the best of both, and you can do the single arm version while kind of saving time, and that would be to do drop sets. So you would start with, you know, a heavier band, like kind of in this clip I take the orange band, and then once I hit near failure with that, I drop down to the purple band, which is about 30 pounds lighter. Crank out as many sets as I can get with that. Just a warning though, it is not optimal. You will get better results if you just wait in between, and that way you can do a full effort set each time with the, you know, an appropriate amount of weight. But you know, life's not perfect, so sometimes you're gonna have to make do and do some drop sets so you can get a gnarly pump in a short amount of time. And I've come a long way on these over time. I'm doing about a 50-pound orange band right here. That's when I started out doing this exercise. Nowadays I'm doing a black 100-pound band, so I've just about doubled my strength on this movement in the last 8 months or so. And I'm still hitting about the same reps with almost as good a form, so you know, I'll take it. It's hard to be super strict once you get heavier on the face pulls, but it's good to do both variations. You know, I'll have my little heavier day where I cheat a little bit, you know, kind of bob the head forward a little bit, and then I have a lighter day where I just really focus on that squeeze. I feel like, you know, a lot of people are always asking questions like, is this better, or should I do this exercise, or should I do this rep scheme? Honestly, you should do it all. Do, you know, just alternate, stagger it. You can do like a rotation system where, you know, a couple weeks you'll do this movement, and then the next 4 weeks you'll do this movement, or you know, if a 4-day upper lower, you can just do one movement on one upper body day and do the other on the next. This is a great way to, you know, always be doing something different. You know, that way your workouts don't get stale. So it's just a win-win all around. So next up after these face pulls, you'll see me doing the Band Shrug. It's a great trap movement, especially, you know, with limited equipment. But I do find the single arm version of the Band Shrug to also be superior. You know, it's just, it provides a much better stretch. You got to try it out, honestly. I feel like it's the best upper trap movement there is. I don't feel any, even if I'm doing a heavy rack pull, I don't feel that intense stretch like I do on the single arm Band Shrug. So don't knock it till you try it. I promise you, it's a great movement. Especially if you have a limited number of bands. It comes in clutch. Especially when I was getting stronger on the 2-arm version, I just, you know, I ran out of band tension, so I just figured, hey, let's, you know, take a couple bands out and I'll do it with one arm. And, you know, I've never looked back since. Once I need a little bit more upper trap, I'm probably going to add them back into my program, even though I have a barbell and I can do all sorts of movements for them with that. But, you know, it doesn't provide what the bands offer. And after I do the band shrugs, you'll see quite a few exercises. It's part of a tri-set that I was doing. You know, so basically the structure of it is it's like a superset, except you do 3 exercises back to back to back instead of just the 2. So I would do something for the front delt, like the band front raise. I don't think I did a plate front raise, but that is also a great variation to do. It depends on what kind of equipment you have. You know, you can structure these workouts to work with whatever you have available to you. So then in the second portion of the tricep would be something for the side delt, like a band lateral raise or dumbbell lateral raise. You know, you can even use a plate for that too. It's hard on the grip, but it's a nice stimulus. And the last one would be for the rear delts. So the rear delt plate raise, or you can do these things called pummel curls that I'm doing. I got those from Eric Bugenhagen back from his wrestling days. He would do them for conditioning and to build up a lot of endurance in the upper back, because that's crucial when it comes to a sport like wrestling. You need upper back endurance, or else you're not going to last. So with those, I would do 2 to 3 sets of 25 to 40 reps. You got to do something that's really high rep. And honestly, I feel like high reps work great for the shoulders, anyways. And small muscles in general. I just started doing them for my arms recently, and the pumps are unreal. I've never gotten a whole arm pump like I do when I do the band curls and band extension supersets. I suggest you try those out too. I'll have to make a video on those one day. And as you can see here, the band front raise, it's pretty basic movement. I'm using a Elite FTS mini band here, just getting the feel for it. You can see I upgrade to the Monster Mini in the next front raise clip in a few minutes. That's just a little bit heavier, and it is a nice variation, but I feel like the plate front raise actually is better. Just with the way the strength curve is, you really get a nice full tension through the full range of motion when you're doing it with the plate versus with the way I had the band set up. It was just a little too loose at the bottom, honestly. And then up next is the banded lateral raise. This one's pretty good too, but I have to say, at the end of the day, I probably do prefer the dumbbell version. The way the strength curve is set up on this one, it's too hard at the top. So in order to get your side delts to hit failure, you kind of got to cheat and use body English. And that's okay some of the time, but on shoulder movements, I want something that's low fatigue. I'm not trying to get tired out from doing a shoulder raise. It's just unnecessary, especially if you are, maybe if this was like one of the only exercises you could do, that'd be okay. But if you're trying to train maximally and improve other things and involve more muscles, it's just going to be a waste of your time and energy. This one right here actually is pretty great. It's the plate rear delt raise. It's good, trains the grip and the rear delt at the same time. Luckily, you don't need a lot of weight for rear delts, so your grip isn't really going to limit you. On something like the plate lateral raise, where you can do a lot more weight, your grip eventually will limit you and give out before the shoulder. But if you do have limited equipment, I guess it is a good variation to throw in, just for the sake of variation and getting a novel training stimulus. And you can't overlook that. Also, I forgot to mention this earlier. In the face pull footage, you can see me doing 1.5 reps, where I will, go all the way down, bring it back, and then I only bring it down halfway before I bring it back again. So, I'm doing 1 full rep, 1/2 rep, and then I reset, and I keep doing that. So, it's 1.5 reps. It's a great bodybuilding method. It's very popular. I'm sure you may have heard of it before, but it will increase the tension if you have no other way, no other equipment at hand. It's just another tool in the toolbox for increasing tension, making exercise harder. Anyways, I've rambled on long enough today, so I'm just going to give you guys some key points to get out of here with today. That way you remember something and make the most of the content in this video. First of all, you're going to want to hit your compound lifts first in your exercise routine. So whether that's, the dumbbell shoulder press, barbell overhead press, whether you're using a sandbag or a heavy rock in your yard, it doesn't really matter. You want to use something that involves the most muscle mass. That way you can move heavier loads. And it's always good to get that out of the way first before you do your high rep stuff, because once you fatigue yourself with the high rep stuff, you're not going to be as strong and you won't get as much out of that compound movement. So definitely take care of them first. As for everything else, it's best to do high volume with high reps. That's the best approach for small muscles, and maybe even large muscles too, at least from time to time. It's good to do a block of 20 rep sets, kind of like how Blaha's doing these days. Just building up the work capacity and tendons. It's smart, like I said earlier, it's good to do everything, except for some movements, like a 1 rep max shoulder raise probably wouldn't be a good idea, but within good reason and common sense. And on to the next tip is to rotate your variations to prevent overuse. You know, whether you're doing 1.5 reps, drop sets, changing the modality, changing the tempo. There's tons of ways to make a new exercise out of something that you've already been doing. You just got to use your mind a little bit, get creative. That's way you're always getting a novel stimulus effect when you train, which has tons of benefits. You know, if you're throwing new things at your body and progressively overloading, making it a little more challenging each time you do it, your body's gonna realize, you know, hey, we got to adapt, we got to get stronger. That way we can handle what this guy is throwing at us. If you don't give your body a reason to change by, you know, if you don't hit failure, if you're not doing new things, your body's just going to get complacent and stale because, you know, it likes to conserve energy. That helps you survive in some ways. In other ways, it makes you less able to survive because you end up being weak. But that's a story for another day. So, hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure to subscribe, like, and leave a comment down below. I appreciate your support. Have a good one.